Our coverage of former President Donald Trump's visit to the Bay Area continues now with reporting from our media partners at the San Francisco Standard. And joining us live now is Josh Kane. Josh, we appreciate you as always. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start with the man hosting tonight's fundraiser for Trump, David Sacks. Who is he and how did he make all his money?
David Sacks is a very wealthy tech investor. He was actually part of what was called the PayPal Mafia, which is kind of the original members that launched PayPal. He then went on to start other companies and is now involved in a company called Glue. He owns properties in Jackson Square in San Francisco, and so he has a lot of diverse financial interests, and now one of them is funding Trump's campaign for president.
Yeah, and he's been a fixture in Silicon Valley for a while now. How has Sacks risen in the ranks to become one of the loudest Trump supporters in all of Silicon Valley?
One of the ways to be the loudest supporter of Trump is to just keep talking all the time. And David Sacks is pretty prolific on Twitter, which was purchased by his friend Elon Musk, who also started up at PayPal. He's also got a podcast, Sacks does, called the All In Podcast, which he hosts with other people in tech. And he is consistently sounded off on a lot of different issues, not only in the business space, but also when it comes to foreign affairs and national politics. And he has supported many different candidates over the last year, and now is landing on Trump, who is the likely Republican nominee.
Sacks actually tweeted after Trump's conviction on 34 felony counts last week that Trump has a lot of supporters in Silicon Valley. Many just are afraid to admit it. Have you all found that to be true in your reporting?
It depends what your definition of many is. I think for the majority of people in the Bay Area, Trump is not well liked. However, what we did find in the reporting is that people like Sacks, who are very wealthy and have a very firm views about the way that their wealth is policed by the federal government, as well as issues abroad. There is a growing number of billionaires and wealthy people like Sacks who are warming up to the idea of Trump, and the question is why. Many people have ideas that it is related to increasing their own wealth rather than their stated goals about public policy, but that is up to each individual. And I think what Trump is doing by this visit is trying to send a signal and, kind of own the libs on their home turf. Whether or not that actually means people in San Francisco and the Bay Area are lining up to support him, I'm a bit dubious.
We only have a few seconds left here, Josh, but I know you all went doorbell ringing up and down the street in Pack Heights, where tonight's fundraiser will be for Trump. What do people tell you? Only about 30 seconds here.
Yeah, we rang 39 doorbells in Billionaires Row, which is the very wealthy Pacific Heights neighborhood in which David Sacks lives, where Trump will be visiting tonight. Reviews were mixed. Some said they thought Trump is full of BS, and then they also said they're going to vote for him. And others were just annoyed that they're going to be disrupted by protests and Secret Service. So a lot of different feelings. Most people a little just perturbed.
Okay, well, Josh Kane, senior reporter over at the SF Standard, we'll have to leave it at that. We appreciate you joining us.